Aguche, Eno Prabhu Avatar, Kali Yuga Nache, Charanama Gai Sukha, Tadabadaya, Sahasravadan, Pujare Gunagaya, Sarva Mahaprayashit, Prabhura Nama, Sri Prabhu Nachaya Dekhe Jato, Vana Prabhurananda Dekhe. Vatagana Anyoye Gala Dori Kuroye Grandana Sabara Angete Sobe Mala Nandeka Ena Krishna Rasa Bola Jeteke Sabakirtana Aveshe Panadeya Nanya Janakeshe Jaya Krishna Mara Kanda Bana Mara Anisha Gai Sab Vaikutuhale Arnisha Bhakta Sangha Visvambara Shanti Nahi Kara Sabi Kalevara Imata Nachi Shanti Nahi Kara Rase Vaikantera Nanera Bihare Isakala Punyakat Kare Shravana Bhakta Sangha Gaura Chandre Taramana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nitya Dana Vrindavana Daha Dana Ekadasi Madhavtiti Jaya Ekadasi Madhavtiti Jaya Ekadasi Madhavtiti Jaya Ekadasi. English.
On Ekadasi, after defeating Hari Kirtan, Mahaprabhu, who is the life and soul of the universe, begins to dance in ecstasy.
In the courtyard of the virtuous Srivas, the auspicious sounds of kirtan, Gopal Govinda, reverberate loudly.
The thunderous sound penetrates the universe, filling the whole sky. Everything inauspicious in all four directions is annihilated.
At dawn, Vishrambar dances while the kirtan groups form, sing charming.
Can you be a little more dramatic? Are you tired?
There are many more with Govinda Ghosh. As Gaurchanda dances, everyone performs kirtan.
The mighty Nityananda Prabhu holds on to Mahaprabhu and gently strokes him while Advaita Acharya secretly takes his foot dust.
Her eyes, brimming with tears, Gadadhar and others become overwhelmed in transcendental happiness due to Mahaprabhu's
Nitai.
His name constitutes the highest form of atonement. That Lord dances while those who are supremely worshipped come in.
Seeing Mahaprabhu's transcendental bliss, the associates of the Lord embrace each other and weep.
Sandal paste and garlands grace everyone's bodies. They sing in great bliss, forgetting their own self due to immersion in Krishna Ras.
Entranced in kirtan, all the Vaishnavas lose complete sense of their own bodies and of everyone around them.
Delighted, everyone sings day and night, Jai Krishna, Murari Mukunda, Ganamali.
Day and night, Vishnuvar dances with the devotees, but they never become fatigued because their bodies are full of him.
In such a manner, Mahaprabhu Vishnuvar dances the entire night, except for one prahara, during which he sleeps.
In this way, transcendental happiness arises in the land of Navadvip as the hero of Vaikuntha sports in clean dress.
Gaurachandra and his associates remain in the hearts of those who hear this entire auspicious description.
Vrindavan Das offers this song at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya and the moon-like Nityananda Prabhu.
Jai.
Page 216.
Yeah. Ata charanarena. Shuddha Bhakata Charanarenu Bhajanayana Kola. Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhi Premalati Karamula. Madhavatiti Bhakti Janane Kori Krishna. Krishna Vasati Vasati Boli Paramaya Dada Bore. Gaurayama Chisavastane Karalu Brahmanarange. Sesabastan Eri Boyami Pranay Bhakata Sange. Vedangavadya Suniteman Avasara Sadayache. To Kirtana Suni Anande Hridaya Nache. Jugalamurti Tikiyama Paramayanandaya. Prasada seva korite hoy. Chajaya. Chedina grihe bhajana deki kriti golokabaya. Charana Sidhu Dekhiya Ganga Sukala Simapaya. Dekhi Judaya Pran Madhavato Shani Jani. Gaura Priya Saka Sevane Jivana Sartaka Mani. Akati Vina Krishna Bhajane Anakula Payaja. Prati Divase Paramasuke Svikara Taha. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Anukula. Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhi Prema Lati Karamula. Jaya Madhav Siddhi Ekadasi Madhav Siddhi Jaya. Nitai Gaura Haribo Haribo. Oh.
Yes, from the lotus feet of the pure devotees is the most favorable of bhajan. Service to the pure devotees is the highest perfection and the very root of divine offering.
I carefully observe Madhava's holy days, such as Ekadasi and Janmashtami, for they are the mother of devotion. Knowing that Krishna dwells in these holy days with great regard, I also accept them as my residence.
In the company of devotees who have transcendental love, I will behold all places where my Lord programs away from the body.
A heart always prays for the opportunity to hear the mridanga play. Upon hearing a kirtan glorifying Sri Gaura, my heart dances in joy.
Upon seeing their deity forms of the divine couple, I feel the highest bliss. Honoring the prasad enables one to conquer the material world of five elements.
My home is transformed into Goloka Vrindavan when I see bhajan of Sri Radha Krishna being performed there. When I look upon the Ganga, which is the nectar emanating from the Lord's feet, my happiness knows no bounds.
Upon seeing Tulsi, my heart becomes satisfied, for I know that she pleases Madhava. When I honor shak, a variety of greens, which is very dear to Gaur, I consider my life successful.
Whatever he finds favorable for Krishna bhajan, Bhaktivinoda accepts every day with the greatest happiness.
Kalisi Brat ki jai. Kalisi Brat Palan Kori Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Where do you live, Gadagraja?
I live in Ekadasi, Jan Mastami.
Good. Siddharthan, you know any bhajans for Krishna or Radha Krishna?
Radha Jaya Jaya.
Hmm? Yeah.
Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Deva Bhavantam Bande
What page?
343. Krishna
Deva
Deva Bhavantam
Tambande.
Deva
Deva Bhava
Bhavantam
Tambande.
Manmana Samaduga Apaya Nija Pada Pankaja Makarande
Anasamadukara Paya Nijapada Pankaja Makarande. Nati Samadhi Suvirarapi Pasyati Natavo Nakagramarichi. Idamicham Shamya Tavachuta Tadapi Kripa Vichi. Krishna Deva Baba Krishna Deva Baba Tamba Deva Bhavanta Pande. Bhakti Rudanch Yajapi Madhava Natvai Mamatila Matri. Parameswara Tatara Tavadika Durgata Gata Navidatri. Krishna Deva Bhavanta Pande Deva Bhavanta Pande. Ayama Taya Sanatana Kalita Bhuttarasa Param. Viva Satyanityameha Tanendene Vindan Madhuri Saram. Deva Bhavanta Pande Deva Bhavanta. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Maite. Manda. Gokula Tarune Mandala Maite. Tadararati Vardhana Veshe Harinas Kutave Tavipineshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Vishabhanudari Navashashileke Dita Saki Gun Ramita Vishake Navashashileke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Vishabhanudari Navashashileke Lalita Saki Gun Ramita Vishake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Kurumai Karunabharite Sanaka Sanatan Varni Charite Karunam Kurumai Karunabharite Sanaka Sanatana Varni Charite Karunabharite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Karunam Kurumai Karunabharite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Ma Vadaite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Kula Taruna Mandala Mahite Gokula Tarune Mandala Mahite Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Bol. Go Fremandi. Agyanam Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Twadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Nama Yang Pravrijantam Manupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayana Viraka Taruajuhava Putre Tanmayataya Taravo Banedos Tang Sarvabhu Hridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vinay Aparadalakshay Chiptasya Kamadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapadyam Prinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tavaivasmi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tambina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tam Nayamam Charanantikam Kripayati Yadi Radha Padita Shishabadha Kemapadavashishtam Pushti Maryadeyorme Yadi Vadati Chakinship Smeraha Sodita Shir Twijavaramani Panktya Mukti Shuktya Tadakyam Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Smeraha Samurali Manohara Radhika Mam Kripanite Swapriya Charana Kinkari Kuru Prananata Vrishabhanu Nandini Sri Mukhabjara Salola Satapada Radhika Padatale Kritim Tam Bhajami Rasikendra Shekhara Sambadaya Dashanim Trinam Vibho Prartaye Brajamahendra Nandan Astu Mohan Tavati Ballabha Janma Janmani Madhiswari Priya. First I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, to our grandfather gurus, Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates and all the assembled devotees. And the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus or my Shiksha Gurus, Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta, Madhav Maharaj, Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta Ban Maharaj, and Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. It's interesting because I say Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj, and then I remembered that all of you men, you have a lot of connection with him. He gave you your Brahma Gayatri. Wonderful. All right, so here we are in, where are we? We are in Padarik Ashram. Are you in Naimisharanya?
Lost.
Narada is inspiring Vyasadeva to write the Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm just reviewing first. He says, simply by giving oral reception to this very Vedic literature, a feeling of loving devotion to Krishna, the Supreme Lord, sprouts up at once and extinguishes the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fear. That's pretty amazing. There's lots of glorifications. I remember Haridas printed out like 4 pages, and we used to read that at the beginning. Maybe we can do that tomorrow just to refresh. And then we are back at Vyasadeva. After compiling it and revising it, he taught it to Sukadeva, who was already engaged in self-realization. Who was Sukadeva Goswami in his previous life? He was Radhika's parrot. And then how did he become a impersonalist and had to be revived by his father, Vyasadeva? No, he was pretending. He was playing a role of an impersonalist, just to show how an impersonalist, by hearing the Bhagavatam, he becomes transformed. All the different varieties of those who take pleasure in the Atma or self, called Atma Ramas, especially those established on the path of self-realization, even though they're freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed service. So he was setting the example for that. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls. I did a painting which was just a copy of one Indian print. It's that same one, that's the gigantic one that we sent to Detroit. But we did several of those. So one of them was bought by the disciples of Swami Satchidananda. He had this long white beard. And he put it in his inner chamber. And so when we told Prabhupada about that, he quoted this verse and he said, yes, this proves it. Because he was a Mayavadi like that, and he was attracted. Those days we sold the painting for, I think, $200. So he heard it. Where did he hear it from first? First, Radha and Krishna told the parrot, stay here and preach. But he couldn't preach in that form as a parrot. So he went to the place where Lord Shiva was speaking the Bhagavatam to his wife. And somehow or other he had to turn into a human. So what happened? While Parvati was falling asleep in the mid cantos, 5, 6, he, as a parrot, he could imitate his voice. Very good, go on. So in this way, uh, Lord Shiva kept speaking, and so he got to hear. And then she kind of woke up towards the later cantos when it got more interesting. And she said, "Oh, I was sleeping." "No, you weren't. You were saying, go on." "No, I fell asleep." "Well, then who was it?" So they found him in the tree, and then he picked up his trident and he was running after him. Because no one is allowed, no unqualified person is allowed to hear the Bhagavatam. So he chased him all the way into Vyasadev's hermitage. He said, "Did you see a bird flying here?" Why? "Because I want to kill him, because no unqualified person can hear the Bhagavatam." "Why? What happens?" "Well, he becomes immortal." "Then how can you kill him?" "Oh yeah, that's right." So this was all just a play to get him into the womb so that he could come out 12 years later as a human. In fact, he told him, "You're giving your mother so much trouble staying in for so long. Why don't you come out?" "I don't want to come out because then I'll be in Maya." So then he couldn't convince him. So he called Krishna from Dwarka, and Krishna said, "No, I promise you, you won't be in Maya." So he came out, and without undergoing any of the reformatory processes, he just left home and mentally or heartily took the renounced order of life. So now we're back at Naimisharanya. And because all this was being told by Sutta Goswami, he addressed the rishi sages headed by Shonaka. "Now I shall begin the transcendental narration of Krishna and topics of the birth, activities, and deliverance of Maharaj Pariksit, the sage among the kings, as well as topics of the renunciation of the worldly order of the sons of Pandu, how they left their kingdom and took renunciation." So this is chapter 7 of the first canto. Narada convinced Vyasadeva, and then he flew off in the skyways, and Vyasadeva began writing. When the respective warriors of both camps, what both camps? The Mahabharata war. When the respective warriors of both camps, namely the Kauravas and the Pandavas, were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the dead warriors obtained their deserved destinations, and when the sons of Dhritarashtra fell down lamenting, then his spine was broken. Duryodhan. How was his spine broken? Bhima. They were having a fight for days, club fight, but they were both equal in fighting because Duryodhan was actually taught by Balaram. So you can't beat him unless you're cheating. So Krishna remembered what? He remembered Draupadi, how Draupadi was being attempted to be naked, and Duryodhan was sitting there. You remember the painting? He was sitting there, tapping his thigh. Yes, let her be naked and then she will come and sit on my thigh naked. So Krishna remembered that. So he went like that, and Bhima understood. And so he struck Duryodhana's thigh. But Duryodhana had a benediction from his mom. What's her name? Gandhari. She was very chaste, although she was a pure devotee. Her husband, Dhritarashtra, wasn't. He was very sectarian and against the Pandavas. So because she was chaste and blindfolded herself so that she wouldn't think herself greater than her husband, her eyes became very powerful. And so Duryodhana wanted a benediction from her. So she said, so come over naked and I will make you invincible. So he was on his way and Krishna saw him and he said to him, because he knew exactly, obviously, he knew what was happening. So he said to him, where are you going? I'm going to see my mother. Naked? Are you serious? At least wear a lungi. So he did. And then when she took the blindfold off and looked at him to give him her power, that was the only part that was covered. So it didn't go there. That's how he could be killed by the thigh. It's all under Krishna's control. Oh, that reminds me. I want to read something tomorrow. It's a lecture that Gurudev gave in 1997 in Holland, because devotees in ISKCON were a little bit in an outrage. Some of them. There were two camps. One camp thought that because so many little children in the Gurukula were tortured, like they had to eat their own urine and really horrible things. They got beaten because the teachers were not qualified to be anything, either Vaishnavas or teachers. And so, kids will be kids, and so they torture them. And then they were ordered that when Prabhupada came to visit, they should pretend that everything's all right, otherwise they'll be punished more. So that's what happened. And then apparently Prabhupada said, this is a very good school, everyone should send their children to this school. And then, anyway, it started to explode. And there were two camps. One camp thought, well, Prabhupada didn't know about it, that's why he didn't stop it, which would mean that Prabhupada's a conditioned soul. And the other one said, Prabhupada did know about it, and so he's bad because he didn't stop it. So both of them were giving negative, what do you call that, aspersions to Srila Prabhupada. So this was taken up to Srila Gurudev in 1997 in Holland, and so he spoke about it. Very, very interesting. I thought about it because it was all Krishna's arrangement about, cover yourself up, and Draupadi attempted to be derobed. Why did Krishna allow that? Why did he wait till she was completely embarrassed and then save her? So many questions. Why did Prabhupada create sannyasis? Well, half said, well, he didn't know. That's not good. Well, he did know. That's not good either. So let's find out tomorrow what Gurudev says about those two things. So his spine was broken, being beaten by the club of Bhimasen, the son of Dronacharya. Who is that? Ashwatthama. Okay, Being beaten, he fell down lamenting, spine broken, being beaten by the club of Bhimasena. At that time, the son of Dronacharya, that's his Ashwatthama, beheaded the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi. They were young, 5 sleeping sons. They were not so young, but they were young men, and delivered them as a prize to his master, Duryodhana. While he was lying there, they thought, well, let me make him happy. Ashwatthama, he was a real demon. He thought, well, let me make my master happy by handing him the heads of the 5 sons of Draupadi. But Duryodhana, he disapproved of the heinous act. He was not pleased in the least. So he died lamenting. Let's see if that history is there. No. No, it's not there. Yeah, he said now the dynasty of the Kauravas and the Pandus is finished, now that you did that. And then he died. Draupadi, the mother of the 5 children of the Pandavas, after hearing of the massacre of her sons, began to cry in distress with eyes full of tears. Trying to pacify her great loss, Arjuna spoke to her thus. O gentle lady, when I present you with the head of that Brahmana Aswatthama, after beheading him with arrows from my Gandiva bow, I shall then wipe the tears from your eyes and pacify you. Then, after burning your sons' bodies, you can take your bath standing on his head. There are different kinds of people who it's authorized for a Kshatriya to kill. Somebody who sets fire to your house, and that's what they did. Gives poison, that's what they did. Attacks all of a sudden with deadly weapons, that's what they did. Plunders the wealth, that's what they did. Entices one's wife, that's what they did. And that's called an aggressor. Such an aggressor, even if he's a Brahmana, or a so-called son of a Brahmana, he has to be punished in all circumstances. So when Arjuna promised to behead the aggressor named Aswatthama, he knew well that Aswatthama was the son of a Brahmana, Dronacharya, his teacher, who taught him martial arts. But because the so-called Brahmana acted like a butcher, he was taken as such, and there was no question of sin in killing him. So Arjuna, who was guided by the infallible Lord as friend and driver, chariot driver, thus satisfied the dear lady by such statements. Then he dressed in armor and armed himself with furious weapons, and getting into his chariot, he set out to follow Aswatthama, the son of his martial teacher. Aswatthama, the murderer of the princes, seeing from a great distance Arjuna coming at him with great speed, fled in his chariot, panic-stricken, just to save his life, as Brahma fled in fear from Shiva. When did Brahma fled in fear of Shiva? Do you want to know? So, according to the reading, either ka, because the word ka is used here, or arka, there are 2 references in the Puranas. Ka means Brahma, who once became allured by his daughter and began to follow her. When did that happen? At the time of creation, he created so many species, so many types of humans, so many what's the word, activities of the different humans. And then he got lusty over his daughter, and she took the form of a hind and ran away, and he took the form of a stag and ran after her with a lusty mood. So that got Lord Shiva very angry, who attacked Brahma with his trident, and Brahma fled for his life. As far as Arka is concerned, there's a reference in the Vaman Purana. There was a demon named Vidyunmali, who was gifted with a glowing golden airplane, which traveled to the back of the sun, and night disappeared because the glowing effulgence of his plane. Thus the sun god became angry, and with his virulent eyes he melted the plane. I mean, they have fight all over the place, in heaven too. This enraged Lord Shiva. He then attacked the sun god, who fled away and at last fell down at Kashi, at the place, and that place became known as Lo Larka. Did that really happen? I mean, it really happened, but it's all pastime to make things in the universe happen. And then when Brahma ran after his daughter, his sons, headed by Marichi, they criticized him, and then they were cursed by him. And one of them became the son of Hiranyakashipu, and so many things happen because of other things. So these are just pastimes. So the son of the Brahmana, Aswatthama, saw that his horses were tired. So he considered that there was no alternative for protection outside of using his ultimate weapon, the Brahmastra, which is a nuclear weapon like the modern atomic warfare. So what happened then? In the ultimate issue only, when there's no alternative, the nuclear weapon called Brahmastra is used. The word Drijatmaja is significant here because Aswatthama, although the son of Dronacharya, was not exactly a qualified Brahmana. The most intelligent man is called a Brahmana, and it's not a hereditary title. It comes by quality. Aswatthama was also formerly called a Brahma Bandhu, which means a friend of the Brahmana. Means you're not a Brahmana, even if you're the son. Being a friend of the Brahmana does not mean that one is a Brahmana. A friend or son of a Brahmana, when fully qualified, can be called a Brahmana, since his decision was so immature. He is purposely called here the son of the Brahmana. Since his life was in danger, he touched water in sanctity and concentrated upon the chanting of the hymns for throwing nuclear weapons, although he didn't know how to withdraw the weapon. But this particular one was interesting. You'll find out why. So this one you could throw by sound, by mantra. You chant hymns and then the nuclear weapon acts. Thereupon a glaring light spread in all directions. It was so fierce that Arjuna thought his own life was in danger, and so he began to address Krishna. That's what you do when you're in danger. Even someone so powerful as Arjuna, who could defeat 10,000 charioteers, he said, "Oh, my Lord Sri Krishna, you are the Almighty." It's a nice verse. Arjuna Vacha Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhayankara Tvameko Dahyamananam Apavargo Si Sangsrite. Only you are competent to instill fearlessness in the hearts of your devotees. Everyone in the flames of material miseries can find the path to liberation only through you. He's the only. You're the original person who expands himself all over the creation and is transcendental to material energy. You have cast away the effects of the material energy by dint of your spiritual potency. You're always situated in eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge. And yet, though you are beyond the purview of the material energy, you execute the four principles of liberation characterized by religion and so on for the ultimate good of conditioned souls. You descend to remove the burden of the earth. O Lord of Lords, how is it that this dangerous effulgence is spreading all around? Where does it come from? I don't understand. So Krishna said, know from me that this is the act of the son of Drona. He has thrown the hymns of nuclear energy, and he doesn't know how to retract the glare. He has helplessly done this, being afraid of imminent death. O Arjun, only another Brahmastra can counteract this one. Since you are expert in the military science, subdue this weapon's glare with the power of your own weapon. So who's speaking this? Yeah, Krishna is speaking, but who's saying that Krishna is speaking? Sutta Goswami. Where, Vasanti? In Naimisharanya. So hearing this from the Lord, Arjun touched water for purification, and after, he wasn't in such a rush that he couldn't take the time to do Achman and circumambulate the Lord. What was that other instance? Madhavendra Puri, he was in town. He ran away because he desired to taste the sweet rice before the deity ate it. So he thought he's so terrible. He ran away, left the temple, and went to the middle of the town. And so that night, the pujari had a dream. And Krishna spoke in his dream that I kept a pot of sweet rice for Madhavendra Puri, who's in the town. Go and give it to him. I kept it behind the curtain of the altar. So he took bath and then went. So at the same time here, Arjun did Achman, circumambulated Krishna, and then he cast his Brahmastra. When the rays of the two Brahmastras combined, a great circle of fire, like the disk of the sun, covered all of outer space and the whole firmament of planets. And then Prabhupada says in the purport, the radiation of atomic energy is very insignificant in comparison to the heat produced by a Brahmastra. The atomic bomb explosion can at most blow up one globe, but the heat produced by the Brahmastra can destroy the whole cosmic situation. The comparison is therefore made to the heat at the time of annihilation. All the population of the three worlds was scorched by the combined heat of the weapons. Everyone was reminded of the samvartika fire that takes place at the time of annihilation. Thus, seeing the disturbance of the general populace and the imminent destruction of all the planets, Arjuna at once retracted both, as Krishna desired. Arjuna, his eyes blazing in anger, like two red balls of copper, dexterously arrested the son of Gautami and bound him with ropes like an animal. After binding Aswatthama, Arjuna wanted to take him to the military camp. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, looking on with lotus eyes, spoke to angry Arjuna. Don't show your mercy to him by releasing him, for he has killed innocent boys in their sleep. A person who knows the principles of religion doesn't kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot. Nor does he kill a boy, a woman, a foolish creature, or a surrendered soul. He deserves to be killed for his own well-being. Otherwise, he'll drown in his own actions and have to suffer for many births. That's the same thing with, what is the government? What did they used to do? Capital punishment. It protects them for their next life. Otherwise, now they've made it easy, quote unquote, easy on him. And they don't realize what they're doing. Nobody realizes what they're doing these days. I don't realize what I'm doing either. Furthermore, I have personally heard you promise Draupadi that you would bring forth the head of the killer of her sons. Then Suta said, although Krishna, who was examining Arjuna in religion, encouraged him to kill the son of Dronacharya, Arjuna, a great soul, did not like the idea, although Aswatthama was a heinous murderer. After reaching his own camp, Arjuna, along with his dear friend and charioteer Krishna, entrusted the murderer unto his dear wife, who was lamenting for her murdered sons. Suta said, Draupadi then saw Aswatthama, who was bound with ropes like an animal, and silent for having enacted a most heinous murder. Due to her female nature, and due to her being naturally good-hearted and well-behaved, she showed him due respects. Can you imagine? Draupadi. She showed him due respects as a Brahmana. Dronacharya is certainly still existing, being represented by his son. His wife Kripi did not undergo a sati with him because she had a son. You get that? Get it? Everybody get it? No. So in the Vedic times, when the husband dies, and then he's being burned in the fire, cremated, she walks into the fire because the heat of separation is greater than the heat of the fire, so she walks right in. But Kripi, the wife of Dronacharya, didn't, because she had a son. So this is Draupadi's argument. O most fortunate one who knows the principles of religion, it's not good for you to cause grief to a glorious family who are always respectful and worshipful. My lord, do not make the wife of Dronacharya cry like me. I'm aggrieved for the death of my sons. She need not cry constantly like me. If the kingly administrative order, being unrestricted in sense control, offends a Brahmana order and enrages them, then the fire of that rage burns up the whole body of the royal family. So many rules, so many, but this on this side, but that on that side. So now Yudhisthira Maharaj, he was here, he was the king. He supported her statements, which were in accordance with the principles of religion and were justified, glorious, full of mercy and equity, and without duplicity. Nakula and Sahadev, they're the youngest of the Pandavas. And also Satyaki Arjun, the personality of Godhead Krishna, the son of Devaki, and the ladies and others all unanimously agreed with the king, who agreed with Draupadi. That is pretty amazing, isn't it? I would have killed him. Bhima, however, disagreed with them, Bhima, and recommended killing him. In an angry mood, murdered his nephews and sons for no purpose. And his master wasn't even pleased about it. Who was his master? Duryodhana. Remember, he died like that. The four-armed one, or the personality of Godhead, after hearing the words of Bhima, Draupadi and others, saw the face of his dear friend Arjuna. And so how did he get a win-win on this? Does anybody know? And if I remember correctly, Aswatthama told Duryodhana that these are the heads of the Pandavas. And then Duryodhana, on his deathbed, he went like that, and the heads busted. So he knew the heads were very tender heads. He said, these are not the heads of the Pandavas. You've ruined the whole dynasty. So what did Krishna say for a win-win? A friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed, but if he's an aggressor, he must be killed. All these rulings are in the scriptures, and you should act accordingly. You have to fulfill your promise to your wife, and you also have to act for the satisfaction of Bhishma and me. Just then Arjuna could understand, by his equivocal orders. So then when he took his sword and severed the hair, and he had this, Aswatthama had this jewel inside of his head, not too far in. You could see it. So he took the jewel represented his being a Brahmana. So we're going to kill one of his lives. That, and we're also going to humiliate him by cutting his hair. He was already how do you say that? Luster, lost luster, lackluster. He was already lackluster because of his murder. It was called infanticide. The kids were young. And now, having lost the jewel from his head, he lost even his more strength. Thus he was unbound and driven out of the camp. But you think he said, "Okay, I'm gonna be good now"? No. Cutting the hair from his head, depriving him of his wealth, and driving him from the residence are the prescribed punishment for the relative of a Brahmana. There's no injunction for killing the body. Thereafter the sons of Pandu and Draupadi, overwhelmed with grief, performed the proper rituals for the dead bodies of their relatives, because now there's millions of them. The end of the war. It's the end of the war and the end of the book, end of the volume. So should we end in this? It's really a cliffhanger. Let's just start the beginning of the next chapter. You think they got mad at Krishna? Because they know that Krishna could have stopped it. He could have stopped the gambling. He could have stopped the derobement attempted. He could have stopped so many things. He could have stopped his grandson, Samba. You know that story? You'll hear about it tomorrow. I don't know why it got into this all of a sudden. Because Vyasdev just started to write the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then it like jumped. And it said after he wrote it, he taught it to all of his disciples, and they taught it to their disciples, and then it became so many branches. So then Krishna prepared for his departure. Okay, now everybody are side one, and now I'm going. He then prepared for his departures. But what did Queen Kunti pray? Better when we had the calamities, because then you were with us. Now that we're temporarily freed, now you're leaving, it's better to have you. He invited the sons of Pandu, after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas, headed by Vyasadev. The Lord also reciprocated greetings. As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwarka, he saw Uttara. Here we go again. He saw Uttara. Who's Uttara? She's the mother of King Parikshit. She's the wife of Arjuna? Let's find out. As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwarka, he saw Uttara hurrying towards him in fear. Uttara said, "O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, for there's no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. O my Lord, you're all-powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally, if you so desire, but please don't let it burn or abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord." Sutta Goswami said, "Oh, Abhimanyu is the husband of Uttara. Abhimanyu is Abhimanyu's widow is Uttara, and she could have done the sati rites as well and gone into the fire, but she was pregnant. That's why she didn't. Who was in the embryo? King Parikshit. And she was responsible for his protection. And who's Abhimanyu? Son of Arjuna. It was terrible how he died. But do you think Arjuna got mad at Krishna? No. So she wasn't ashamed to express this frankly in front of Krishna. Sutta said, having patiently heard her words, Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Aswatthama, he did it again. Because they didn't kill him, he just did it again. But this time he sent an atom bomb that would only go in the womb, not destroy all the planets. Because he wanted to finish the life of the last king of the Pandavas family. O foremost among the great thinkers, Shonaka, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons. Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who were fully surrendered, he at once took up his Sudarshan chakra. And what did he do? He went into the womb. just to protect the progeny of the Kuru dynasty, and he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. O Shonak, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon, released by Aswatthama, was irresistible and without check or counteraction, it was neutralized and foiled when confronted by the strength of Vishnu. So one of Parikit's names is Vishnu Rata, means that he was protected by Vishnu in the womb. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that. We can stop now. Any questions? So he say Parikit, then he's ready to leave again. And then Kunti approaches him. And now we have a whole beautiful chapter of Kunti's prayers. And I'd like to have Prabhupada sing that. You can sing it with him. Very, very beautiful. Vasanti will find it. So big days coming up. Gurudev explaining Prabhupada. Kunti's prayers. Bhavishmin kleshamananam avidya kama karma bhi shavanam smaranarhani karisyani tikeshava. That's Prabhupada's tune. What does that mean? Scientists spend millions of dollars to figure out why is there suffering? Why is there this world? Why is there suffering? But they can't figure it out, even with their millions of dollars. Taxpayers' money. But Kunti did it. What did she say? All of it. Go ahead, Vasanti. Loud. Loud. Take the mic. You're online, Vasanti.
And yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshiping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls, suffering from material pangs, might take advantage and gain liberation.
Okay, Garagraja, take the mic. And can you repeat what she said? Janardhan? Vasanti. Can you take the mic, Vasanti? And others,
And yet others say
that
that
you
you
have
appeared for
appeared
the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshiping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation.
Yeah, that was, but then there was another verse for her. Another verse of hers that says that all living beings are born into this world due to ignorance. Due to ignorance, they sin, and due to sin, they suffer. So much tattva is in her prayers. Can you repeat what she said, Gadagraja?
No.
Yeah,
She said, then there's others.
you take the mic. Others say,
Others say that you appeared into this world to rejuvenate the hearing and the chanting and the awakening of devotional service so that the conditioned souls can obtain liberation from this world.
who are suffering in material world. Everyone is suffering. Celso, are you suffering? Yes. Confirmed. All right, so are there any questions or comments? I'm suffering threefold miseries. Any questions or comments? Are you suffering, Tribharari? Me too. What's that? Oh. Okay, any questions or comments? No questions or comments. Okay, then we'll stop here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gora Haribol, 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 Go Premanandi. Devotees, pure devotees appear to suffer, to show us how to suffer and be fully Krishna conscious by not really suffering. Panchakalpataribhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Dandavats.